Hi, I am Kedro on Two Wheels and today I'm here at Yamamoto to test drive the new Kawasaki Z650. So the first impression I got when I got this bike is that this is a very tiny one. This is a 650 and this is very clearly, very clearly the competition from Kawasaki to the MT-07, because it is just that. A very compact bike. This is really tiny. I shit you not, this is as small as that Benelli. It's amazing. It's a 650 engine in a very compact frame. So this is 650 2 cylinders. I'm not sure on the power because I made no research to get no preconceived ideas on this, so let's go to the front to back. Tires are the usual 160 at the rear, 120 at the front. No surprises there. Double disc brakes. This one has ABS. Regular suspension with this little protection here. Light bulbs and H4, so everything's a bit standard here. Not much cool looks though. I like the looks on this. Looks pretty cool. Just tilt this slightly down. No, tilt this slightly up. Has a really tiny windscreen here, which is just a cover, so it doesn't look odd like the MT-07. It actually looks pretty cool. This looks awesome. This is a pretty cool looking machine. You have dual adjustable levers, clutch and brake. Not very usual to have a adjustable clutch at this level. What do we have more? We have rubberized foot pegs. I prefer the tiny ones. Oh, we have this really cool under-tucked exhaust. I expect the sound from that to be awesome. Let's see. You have a very cool looking swing arm with little slight bends to it. This looks really nice. This is a really good looking, nice looking bike. And here we have LED tail lamps. And you have the usual, your chain on the left side. Oh, let me see one thing. Do we have that oil window thingy? Some bikes have, some bikes don't. Do we? I think we do. Here it is. We do, and that is very useful. And it's very light. This is ridiculously light. What? Oh, I'm going to enjoy this one. Oh yeah. Problem is, and this is Kawasaki's fault, this might be too little too late because the market is already tuned to the MT-07. Let's see how she goes. So, turning it on. And now, since I'm going to have this bike for a whole day, I'm just going to film this first start, the first few meters, and then I'll do a proper thingy. What's this red light? Average so far 5 liters to 100 kilometers, which is quite surprising since usually these bikes go balls to the wall. Everything's very light. Steering super light. It feels so tiny, it feels like a 500. Whoa, that's a lot of sensitivity on the throttle. Then again, the engine's still pretty cold, so it's normal that it feels a bit weird. Hang on, brake lever is not adjusted correctly. Like this. No, I want 5. I have small hands, so I always need to get this as close down as possible. Okay, this should be better. Let's see. All the buttons here are the usual. Nothing too much. This does feel a bit cheap here and here. So I guess they're going for a low price. I also don't know the price as of yet, so it's on screen. But I would say this should be relatively cheap because I'm noting here they cut some corners on whatever they can. This looks a bit cheap. This looks a bit cheap. So there's that. Then again, you do have to compete, so all of them have a few corners where you can see that this could have been done a little bit better, at least on this price range. Oh, this feels awesome. Super light. Feels really good on these horrid bumps. It feels connected to the road. I feel like I'm really connected to the road. I like it. Okay, so I'm going to cut it off now. I'm going to ride her home, and then I'll do a proper test run in a few more minutes. Thing I find a bit awkward is the the pointer for the rev counter is digital. Not only is it digital, but it also has some kind of blur to it. Look at that. Okay, that's funky. I like that. It's a bit odd. Look at that. I like it. I like it quite a lot. It's very odd, but I really like the design on this. Very smart, Kawasaki. That looks really cool. That looks really cool. Okay, so see you soon. Okay, so let's do our climb. First part of it is pretty wet, so careful. The second part isn't. So let's go carefully here, because here road's still a bit damp, but here it stops being damp and I can just roll throttle. Now brakes. Now it stops being damp for a moment. Fantastically well. I've just done the Portuguese video, that's why I'm tearing it this way, because I'm already used to this. Really cool that on acceleration, especially in second gear, it just goes very light at the front. This is the tightest corner here. Now it's a cool down for the last bend, and this corner's great. You just in one input and it's all the way around, just the way I like it. There's no wobbliness, no need to correct, even though the front is super light like this. And I've said it before. Look at this. It's really easy to do this. Small bumps and it flies off, and it's also very easy to do this. Oops, hang on, did it badly. As I told you, I don't know how to wheelie, so I suck at it. Oops, sorry, bad again. Saw that? So easy, and I'm doing it poorly. Landing was very sucky. Let's go to the Cape, see if that's dry or not. This is an adrenaline pumping machine, I tell you, and I love it, because this is adrenaline pumping, but I feel in control all the time, which is great. I need to crack my neck. Geesh, that was fast. That was properly fast. This is very confidence inspiring, quite a lot of confidence inspiring. And between this and MT-07, it nearly comes down to personal preference, because this is a carbon copy of it. And that's where Kawasaki fudged it up. Because this bike should have been released at the same time or before the MT-07. Right now, all the younger guys, because this is a younger guy's bike, are going to go straight for the MT-07s, and they're going to ignore this beautiful beast. About the MT-07 and differences to this one, well, the MT-07 has been getting complaints from wooden brakes and cheapish suspension. This one, I prefer the brakes on this one. They feel easier to dose. Although I don't quite get those critics because it's just details. You have to be really on the edge to notice that. And I didn't really notice it. Okay, it's a bit... but it's not horrible. It's just, well, the bike is awesome, but the suspension and brakes are just average, okay? On this one, no, the suspension and brakes are very good. Rear ABS is a bit intrusive. It acts up pretty fast. The front one maybe also a bit too eager to stop, but to stop the skidding. But the brakes, I like the brakes, I like the feel of them. It's hard to describe, but the MT-07s, I still remember that they were kind of... You didn't really get a feel. You were braking and they braked well enough, but you didn't really get a feel of how much you were braking. It would brake and then adjust slightly less, slightly more. You wouldn't get a nice feel. These, I get a good feel out of them. I like the suspension. It feels really nice, and you can see from the lack of wobbliness on the bends and the confidence it gives you when you're cornering. You saw the way I went up there and the way I usually go up there on test drive machines. And okay, I'll go. And it's nice here on this horrible pavement, soft enough. Hang on, I went through that horrible pavement with no issues, so that means this suspension is soft and compliant for the city bumps. But I also tore it through the test track and I didn't feel any wobbliness in the mid corners or exits or entering corners. What the hell? And there's another... Also, when I brake hard, the rear kind of goes light and likes to wobble slightly right and left. That means it's lifting off the ground. That means the suspension is on the soft side. So on the soft side it still works this well. I'm very impressed now. I may be screwing this up and the suspension is actually pretty crappy, but well, I like it. It gives me a good feel, gives me confidence. That's what I want. And it is also relatively comfortable. And despite all this, it's a very comfortable bike to ride at these speeds. Some bikes are too jerky to ride at these speeds comfortably. Hello, Beagle. Just one. Not all of them, just one. Some bikes are like the MT-07 or the MT-10 are really hard to ride at, say, second gear 30 kph. They're just too jerky on the throttle. You're constantly going like this. This one, no, this one is relatively easy. It can go at 2000 RPM. Doesn't really like it, but it does go. Trying to come on, guys, seriously, 30? Your car does not detonate at the maximum posted speed limit, you know? You can go slightly over the limit. See, 2000 RPM. Did it go? Oh yes, it did. Again, very similar to the MT-07. Then again, I would be willing to bet that this is the same engine as the Versys 650, but it's a much lighter bike, and as a result, the engine does all of these things that the Versys does not. Oh, it did not rain here. Awesome. I'm going to slow here. Why not pop a small wheelie? Very small. 5 centimeters. And do this bend quickly enough because of that car. I slowed down to not hit that car mid-corner. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, let's repave a bit of the rider's corner. It's a very fun bike, it is. It's also very sporty. And for those that say that my corners have more lines than the crack house, well, you don't really see on the camera, but this pavement is very irregular. And there's these white patches which I avoid, so there's a very specific line through here, but there's small cracks in the pavement here and there and small bumps like the one I just rode over, and I really don't want... Thank you very much, cool guy. And I really want to avoid those, especially at lean angles, so that's why the lines are very weird here on these bends. Look, on the right there's a dip, so wait, I should have stayed in here. Now I have to go slightly out and then on to the right, and this corner is on the inside, and keep it in, keep it in, keep it in, keep it in. Now start outside and go in. Whoops, too much, then outside again. That's why I need all these lines. And this bike actually allows me to control this fairly well, even though I'm not used to her. Just look at the pace I'm carrying through here. It's awesome. And here's one really big detail, and I have to slow down for this. I'll have to annoy the guy I just overtook. Very sorry, guy, but you'll understand once you see this video. You know, have you heard how this bike sounds? A Euro NCAP 4, a Euro 4 engine does not have to sound like an asthmatic vacuum cleaner, okay? It can sound properly well. Just listen to this symphony if I can. Oh, I can't. Second gear, 5,000 RPM, full throttle. See that? That is a proper sounding bike on a Euro 4 engine and exhaust. So don't give me crap, especially Mr. Yamaha with your MT-09, which has an awesome engine which sounds like an asthmatic blowing through a straw. Don't give me any more excuses of Euro 4. You can make a proper Euro 4 proper sounding exhaust. This one is the proof. Okay, it's subdued, it's low, the volume is low. Euro 4 controls the volume, not the pitch. So give it some more bass. Give it some vibes for... Whoa, this is going to end badly. Give it some vibes for personality's sake. And this tiny bike, this tiny mid-sized bike has a lot of torque to do these kinds of overtakes on illegal places instantly. Wow, I love this. I really do love this one. Okay, now again, between the MT-07 and this one, because it is the direct competition. Too bad Kawasaki took way too long to develop this one. It comes nearly down to personal preference. Which dealership will give you the best deal? Which dealership do you trust the most with the maintenance on your bike later on when you take it to its brand's mechanics? Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. You have a lot of things you have to consider when buying a bike, and those secondary things might be the change between this one and MT-07. Sit on both. This has a regular seat. The MT-07 does not have a regular seat. It has that weird triangular one, which for some people is the best thing since sliced bread. For some people it's horrible. That depends. If you can do a test ride, try a test ride on both, so you might like the feel of one more than the other. It's seriously down to personal preference, and that's a really huge star mark on Kawasaki, because equaling the MT-07 is not easy. That is an awesome bike, and it's seriously not easy to make a bike that you can say, yeah, this is much the same. Much the same. In this case, it's high praise indeed. And it is also the same price, so... Wow, I'm very impressed. For me personally, maybe I would go for this one instead of the 07. I'm not ever going to buy a naked bike. I'm still recording? Fuck, I'm not recording? Oh, crap. I'll check it out. I am recording, I don't have the LEDs. Me, I would never go for a naked bike because I can't. Going to work without the windscreen would be just painful in the winter. Nice in the summer though. And this one has it's very small, very compact, and has a very tidy tail end, and if you stick a top box on it, it'll just look hideous. So I won't do that to this little baby. So no, it's not a naked, but if it was a naked for me between this and the MT-07, I might prefer this one just because the seat is more normal. My legs feel a little less cramped. The MT-07, your legs are a bit more bent. The seat is slightly lower, the pegs are slightly higher. Just a few centimeters, but that's just enough to give it a different feel. So that would be my personal preference. Your personal mileage will vary. Some people will hate the feel on this one, some people will love it. This one feels like it has a slightly better suspension and brake setup. Then again, it has this horrible plastic here and here, and the indicators are very floppy, so they vibrate on the highway. And so actually, so does the whole front assembly on where the light is. That whole thing shakes a lot. Don't know what's with that, but so there's upsides and downsides, because when you have to make a bike under 7 grand, you have to cut corners, and so you have to choose what is going to be dodgy and what is not going to be dodgy. Kawasaki clearly chose to be dodgy on some of the plastics. Yamaha clearly chose to be dodgy on, or slightly dodgy on, the suspension and brake setup, according to some journalists, and I don't quite agree with that. So I'm going to show you this. I'm going just to stop here. That's a good place to stop. Yeah, the ABS is very... The ABS is very keen to remind you that this bike has ABS. Look, this is the worst part for me. This is, what the hell? Come on, Kawasaki. This should be like flush, not... Might be of this particular unit, but this is very floppy. Look, see? Okay, it needs to be floppy or else it'll crack. The plastic has to be bendy or else it'll crack. Spicy 110 learned that the hard way with his first bike, okay? But this is way too floppy. You're on the highway and this goes the whole time. So that's where you cut corners to make a cool bike. You have to cut corners here and there, so it's not that bad, okay? It's just small details. This also feels very cheap, this cover here. But then again, the rim, this metal ring around it looks awesome. It's really weird. Some things here look just absolutely awesome. The paint job, it's a matte white, looks fantastic. The seat has a great texture, looks awesome, and then it's all floppy. That I don't get, seriously. No, but apart from this, these very small and I would say deliberately chosen shortcomings for the price tag. Remember, price tag, price tag, price tag. If this bike did not have these small issues, it would probably be 9,000 euros or 10,000 and no one would buy it. If it had inverted suspension, it would be 10,000 euros and no one would buy a 10 grand 650 two-cylinder engine, okay? So remember the price tag. And for the price tag, it is awesome. It is a serious adrenaline machine. It's great. It is a great bike. You don't like the floppy indicators? Cool, change them. That's why I'm so sad about this plastic I don't like here, because this you can't change, okay? This is what looks the cheapest, okay? Look at this button. It's just a hole cut in the plastic and then the button's stuck in there. Don't like that at all. No texture, no nothing. Looks like a toy. For me, that's the worst part of it. But when I say on a bike that the worst part of the bike is the plastic cover on the kill switch, come on, seriously? That's the bad thing? One for the corner table, please. Because this is a wonderful machine. Look how easy I can overtake anyone I want on what is actually a middleweight bike. It's fantastic. I love it. The instruments are easy to read. It's a bit of a jumble of numbers here, but once you know where everything is, it's really easy to read. Oh, one thing. Look at the rev counter needle. It's a digital thing, which is very funky, and I love it. But look at this. It has a shadow, right? When you get over a certain rev, it starts blinking. Look. Full blinks. It's your indicator that, well, you will be shifting very soon. Get ready. And that looks very nice indeed. Does have that stupid echo icon, which I hate, and which most bikes nowadays bring. Don't know why. It's just real estate that could much better be used for, I don't know, ambient temperature or something like that. But no, let's waste a whole bunch of real estate on your small dash just for a ridiculous little icon that you shouldn't be looking at while you're riding anyway. So that irritates me, but that irritates me on nearly all bikes that are made nowadays. Don't know why the hell they decided that was a good idea. Illegal overtakes. This bike is made for them. Whee! And due to the upright-ish position, more upright than my XJ6, my old XJ6, which I don't have anymore, it is also quite a nice bike to ride at a sedate pace, looking at the scenery. The problem with sports bikes is that you're so bent forward that your field of vision is more like this. So it's just you and the road, and you don't see anything else. You just look at the road. It's very serious, very serious, very professional looking look on the road. You're always very, okay, I can do this 1.5 kilometers per hour faster. Oh, this bend, I should have done it with 3 more degrees of inclination. And this position is more like, hey, look at that. That's cool. Hey, look. Hey, look, puppies. So you can do both on this. Yeah, I like it. I like it quite a lot. This, I usually like all bikes because, as I said, big manufacturers don't really do bad bikes. They don't know how to do that. But this one, I feel this one really feels really special. For a young guy just starting up or getting a new bike for, I don't know, coming out of a 250 or something, this is very nice. This is a very good one for that. I said the MT-07 wasn't because it's even slightly more brutish. This is a bit more smooth. And so if you're a new guy just coming out of 125 or something like that and you want a powerful, fun naked, I would, with very slightly, okay, it's very slight, I would suggest this one. It's just a tiny advantage, okay? The MT-07 is still a great bike, but for a completely newbie, it's a bit too violent. It's a bit too harsh on the accelerator. You can't crash without really meaning to. This one is just slightly less. It doesn't mean it is less fun, because it's not, but the extra control you can get out of the throttle, which is easier to manage, means you can more easily roll out of corners accelerating and not get scared because the bike suddenly went way faster than you wanted and oh my god, I'm on the opposing lane and I better dodge the big truck that's coming on. Oh my god, tree, sky, ground, sky, ditch. So that's something that shouldn't happen with this one, and so it's more appropriate for someone with less experience. And that's why I say I would probably go for this one, because this one is I feel it's a bit easier to manage. Then again, disclaimer, I rode the MT-07 several years ago, and so now I have a lot more experience, so maybe I wouldn't feel that of the MT-07 today. There's the disclaimer, so I would suggest you test drive both, or if you can't, go see other test rides so you get a clearer picture, okay? My final verdict is, I'm just going to leave you with a couple of awesome corners over there that I really want to do. My final verdict is this or the MT-07. It's personal choice. High praise indeed, Kawasaki. You've made a awesome bike. You did a big mistake in not doing this way sooner. Do this 2 years sooner and you would have made a ton of money. Nowadays it feels too little too late. Actually not too little, but just too late. Let's see if I'm mistaken. I really hope I am, because I'd really like to see the street feel with these ones. Sorry about that. Dangerous, I know, but this corner has to be done like this. Ooh, this was on the limit. The road's a bit damp and doesn't really have the grip I wanted, so that was on the edge. I don't think I ever did a corner quite that much on the edge. Both wheels, I felt both wheels going skidding slightly, not skidding but scrubbing. Just slightly beginning to lose traction and the trajectory widening without me doing any inputs. That was just on the limit, because the ground is slightly moist, so it's not hot enough and it's slightly lubricated. Any gear, throttle up and off we go. I love it. I love it. Okay, enough ranting on the bike. This is probably way longer than it should, and so with the sight I leave you. Cage her out.